Good morning, it's Josh here. Rather than write plenty of words about the six horses in front, I thought I would record a video instead. Um, Especially on a Sunday, you may have time to watch it if you so please. What did I want to say? Where should we start? It's obviously a busy day. All bar one horse appears on the list of various different stats qualifiers, recent losing tips, eye catchers for various reasons, you name it, and I'll explain why I fancy them at the price. And there's one there as well, which doesn't appear anywhere, but when looking through the race, I thought was worth a go. So that's that. Let's crack on. As always, they're kind of listed in the order that I make a decision and get to them. So that's why they're not in race time order, if you were wondering. I am going to start with the 325 at Newberry, which is a qualifier for the Jim Crowley angle for his boss. This horse has got something decent in him this season, I think. Obviously, the yard's in flying form. Haggis and Jim Crowley do really well when teaming up at Newbury. I suspect nearly all of those are for Sheikh Hamdan in his Jim's retained colours. The horse, if you watch some of his races, he doesn't half travel like a good one. And you look through some of these races and think, especially that Kempton, yes, it was a class 3 handicap, decent on the figures. He just breezed and won that as if he's got a good race in him. Haggis has said a few words in Mark Howard's excellent Ahead on the Flat, of which I failed to read uh, before Sinjari ran, because Haggis is one of the however many trainers, 9 or so, with their stable detailed within this book. And maybe I'd have been closer if I had. But anyway, this horse, the team think he's got a stakes race in him this year. I think he's got a good chance here. He's got a lot of speed and pace to the eye, and it wouldn't surprise me if Jim's been instrumental in the team in saying he's worth a go over this 10 furlongs. That Newmarket race, he travelled again really well. He was a bit fresh. He probably needed it. The Ascot run was okay, but the ground probably went against him. He doesn't seem to want it quick, good to firm, and he doesn't want it deep. So this ground should be absolutely perfect. No excuses. He's out of Dubai. Um, his mother won the Arc. I mean, he's pretty well bred. So you would like to think he may be better than the 105 in time, and maybe he'll come into his own as a 4 and 5 year old. In any case, I thought this looked a race that he could win. I didn't like Foxtail. Obviously, on ratings, if he runs up to his mark, the rest have got something to do. He carries his head a bit funny for me. I'm not totally convinced by him. He was well fancied the last day. He was a bit too keen. If he puts his running in, he's got some good form in Group 1s. He would be the one to beat, but his price seemed a bit skinny. The John Gosden Frankie Dettori horse, I think that's Frankie's only wide on the day, is the main danger and is well fancied. I'd have it between the two. Falak was around fives, which swung it there. And it's a stats qualifier. And I thought Global Giant looked around the right price, but I can see why he's being fancied. He's got some solid form to his name, and obviously it's the dream team in Class 1s of Gosden and Frankie. So no shock there, but I thought this could be Falak's race, and with a bit of pace on from his stablemate and possibly the variant horse to track and to take him into it, maybe midfield, he's got the pace and look quite exciting. That's probably enough on him. Let me try and rush through relatively for me. Two kind of losing tips. Moon King hits the stats trainer profile for Beckett as well, who's obviously in form. This horse won a Shea Cosley kind of line at Haydock. I think there's more to come in staying races from him this year. I fancied him at Ascot. His price, he was probably a bit too short in hindsight. That was only 8 days later. That and the combination of the trip, I'm not actually sure he saw it out fully. He travelled well for a long way. He's had a bit of a break here. He's tactically versatile, which I like, because this race is lacking in out and out pace. So for a 2 miler, it might throw up a strange result, or it might turn into a bit of a dash. And jockeyship, position, and the horse's ability to quicken may well be what decides the outcome of this race. And in that scenario, I thought looking at some bigger price ones wouldn't be a bad thing. Moon King's solid. He's consistent. He gets his head down. He likes winning. He likes scrapping. The ground should be fine. They've had a drop of rain this morning, so there shouldn't be any firm in it. So it should be all right. Although he probably ideal ground might be a bit softer, but no excuse for me. And it did feel a very open race. And I wanted to have Just Hubert on side as well. A losing tip from last time out. Some of his form, this York form, that race there is solid. That Ascot, the ground probably went a bit too soft for him. That Musselburgh win, he was well on top come the line there off 86. He's only £2 ahead of it. Yes, that was a class 3. It could be that he needs to drop back to that level. We shall see. Being held up around Chelmsford, steady pace, that was never going to help or do much good. He then returned in that Moon King race, of which the Max We Can ran in that. A few of them ran in that. Rochester House, Blue Laureate, who he beat. So all much of muchness, Blanket. These could all beat each other on a different day, depending on how strongly a race was run or how it worked out. I think if you ran this race kind of 10 times, you might get 5 or 6 different winners. So it feels open, which is a good race, I think, to attack one at a price with, to my eyes anyway. We shall see if something bolts up. Anyway, he stays. He's got the form to compete. He's got the mark to compete. He was a bit too fresh at Haydock. In any case, I think he may have needed it. He challenged maybe at the wrong part down the near side. He briefly looked like he might get involved before flattening. But he's only beaten 3¼ lengths, and he was kind of 16, 14 to 1 or so. I tipped him on the back of all of those things I've just said, thinking as a 4-year-old there may be more to come in staying races this season. At Newcastle, I don't know, to watch it again. I don't know what happened there. He fell out of the stalls. Martin Dwyer didn't really make any effort to get going. They went relatively quick through the early part of the race before then becoming a dawdle. He was 20, 30, 40 lengths off the lead after about 2 or 3 furlongs, I think. And I was, well, game over. Never getting involved from them. Wasn't knocked around. He made a bit of an effort at the top of the straight. That wasn't his running. Holly Doyle gets the leg up now. She's only ridden 8 times for Muir, no winners yet, but I haven't, it's Holly Doyle. She's riding superbly, riding with confidence. I'm hoping she can switch him off, and maybe her judgment of pace in race may mean that she makes sure he's a bit handier and that he's in a no excuses position. We shall see. I like Martin Dwyer, but I think Holly Doyle is turning into an upgrade on most jockeys, bar probably a handful. So yeah, there's those two. I thought the favourite was around the right price, worth taking on from his mark. He is open to attack from something with a bit more in hand, a lighter weight, but he is lightly raced. Again, I'm not sure this muddling pace will suit, but he probably was the right favourite. But take him out, and it's rather open. You wouldn't be surprised if either of the Johnson horse ran well, but their form ties in with Moon King and Just Hubert. So, yeah, at those prices, they were worth a go to me. Let me jump over to the 2:30 at York as I swing round to 8 minutes or so. Where do I want to start with this? Pace was interesting. I thought there's a lot of it on paper. There's 4 or 5 who, let me just sort this by the draw. So the stalls were in the centre of the track. Yesterday, the track was running as if you want to be kind of down the near side, but all the pace, kind of 3 or 4 of them, and Danzino can get on with it as well, is kind of middle. So they may come up arrow formation, and those that like racing patiently might tuck behind these 3. In any case, I didn't think there was an excuse there, although it may set up on all those things I've just said for a Makana or a Mighty Spirit, but at the prices I was happy to leave them, but they might run their race. In any case, Arecibo, he won't be right at the back, I hope, but he's got, for the first time in a while, he's well drawn behind where the pace is. He is difficult to win with, but as I was looking through this race, he's not a stats and anything. You can say he can struggle to get his head in front, which might make you think, Josh, what are you doing backing a kind of hold-up horse who struggles to win at 9-2 in a race like this? And maybe 5 minutes after the race is finished, that'll be a valid critique. But I thought everything's set up for him to bolt up here, quite frankly. He's off 97. You look through some of his form, and it's just very good. 1 length behind Oxted there at Doncaster, off 100. That was in a handicap. and a fast run 5 is his thing. I don't think he fully stays 6. Dakota Gold's in the form of his life at this point. That was in a listed race, and he was staying on come the end there. He's ran okay so far this season, to a point. That Ascot race, he was in the again, sorry, no, he ran all right there, but it's 6 furlongs, and I don't think he fully stays it. Doncaster, he was cutting through the field as if he's well handicapped off 97, was nearest at the finish. The pace held up there. I don't think they went overly quick. At Ascot, again, we had the winner of that race, but he was on the wrong side of the track. He was slowly away. There wasn't any pace on his side of the track. It looked to be riding quicker to the near side, and that's where all the action unfolded. But again, he kind of won his side and beat those around him and wasn't knocked about. I just think he's got no excuse today, and that, yeah, I actually thought 9-2, 5-1 was fair. He could win this like a 5-2 shot in this because he's got no excuse really. And O'Meara's just started to fire. Danny's started to fire. I just thought if he's going to get his head in front, everything looks right here against a race where, bar the Fahy horse, everything else, obviously Williams, but he looks out of form, so is the yard. It's kind of an exposed handicapper's race to a point. The other one is Lahore, who I tipped last time out at Ascot. I really wish they'd have withdrawn him. He was a muck sweat on the way down to the start. He didn't look happy. Just another bottle to his left, reared up, kicked him, I think, because they pulled him out. The vet looked at him, they circled him. He was upset. I don't know why they raced him and put him in the stalls. If I was the jockey, I'd have jumped off and said, we're not doing that, although that's probably not allowed. No, didn't run his race. I'm just ignoring that. Now he might remember that. He might be out of form. He keeps drifting in the market. But on this Doncaster form, where he absolutely hacked up, he had a strong pace. He beat a few of these in this race off 96. He looked like he was progressive, age 6 actually, or that he may have another sprint handicap in him. And these sprint handicappers can get better as they get older. And I just thought that Gulliver form there, he ran well yesterday in the Curragh, just beaten on the line. That was a decent handicap. I just thought a fast run 5 on okay, good ground. He won as if he would have won from this mark in that Doncaster race. Newcastle, the pace just held up. He was held up at the back. The wrong position, pace setup wasn't right for him. Line through that, and then an excuse last time out. So maybe he's gone out of form as quickly as he's come into it. Maybe he lives on edge a bit and he's a bit nervous, and that Ascot experience won't really help. But 8 days suggests there's nothing physically wrong with him. He's fit. He didn't really have much of a hard race in that Ascot effort, really. And yeah, I just thought at a big price, again with a lot of pace, maybe both of them might be on the wrong side, but I didn't really like anything drawn high. And yeah, that was that. I suppose, again, this is the type of race where they could all keep running against each other and you might get a different result every time, such is the nature of sprint handicaps. Again, Makana has decent form. Maybe that Newmarket race is the form to follow, although it hasn't worked out well. Copper Knight reopposes here. Both of them had the pace bias there and the track bias on that Newmarket meeting, with a tailwind as well. So having revised my views at the time, I thought that race might work out okay. It hasn't. So yeah, they've got some questions, and from their marks. In any case, they're the two I really like at the prices, and I thought both were value, even Arecibo at 9-2. Mighty Spirit, I wondered, I'll mention him. Got a chance, 3-year-old, loads of weight. I wasn't sure. He's got again, it's a fast run 5 which will suit him, but he does shape as if he wants 6 furlongs now. Whether or not that's correct, and Catterick, when he won there, was a bog. Some questions. I wasn't convinced at 6 or so, and Fahy's yard a bit hit and miss at the moment. 5 from 88. They have a lot of runners, but they're performing 44% below market expectations. 4 from 78 at the track in the last year for a kind of 6-ish shot. A 3-year-old up against hardy handicappers who do all know how to win. I thought I was happy to take him on. So yeah, so that's those two, and I think that leaves me one more in Swiss Pride, in the 5 o'clock at Newberry. Was an eye catcher on my sectional times analysis, from this claimer, where if he had got going a bit earlier, given the speed that he went through the middle part and the end part of the race and the sectionals he produced, beaten by an 80 horse there, I think he'd have won the race if it had worked out a bit different. He runs as if 7 furlongs is what he wants now. He's got a straight track. He's got a bit of pace. Roger Teal's in flying form. Georgia Dobby's a decent jockey, attached to Haggis Yard, I think. She's okay. She's good. I'm not concerned there, and maybe Swiss Pride will enjoy, and maybe she'll get a tune out of him. There is enough turf form, although he's 0 from 11 on turf. 2 places. There's enough turf form there and good efforts, and on the all weather to make me think 7 furlongs here. This class 5. There was enough there at 33s. I've gone each way because I thought half a point each way, half a point win Betfair SP. I thought if he does run on into a place, I'd be a bit annoyed at not having something on the place side at that price. And given there's an extra place with most bookies, it is a bit of a poke, but yeah, I'm trusting my eyes and my assessment of that Wolves race and the general level of his form and his handicap mark. I think he's well handicapped, and this is only the 4th, 5th run for Roger Teal. I think he's going to get wins from him. Whether or not that's back into another claim or something, I'm not quite sure. But this felt a mediocre enough open class 5 handicap with everything having questions to answer to some degree. So yeah, 33s based on my assessment looked a ridiculous price, and I found it hard to leave him at that. Maybe he doesn't like turf, maybe he'll fall out the back of the telly. We shall see, but I think he'll run his race, and that might be good enough to get in the mix. And 33s looked a bit big. I'm not worried about the market with Roger Teal. He has horses flying in at all sorts of odds. They don't seem to have many gamblers or maybe marked accounts in the yard, which forces prices down necessarily, which may be the case with some yards. So I'm not worried about the market there. Maybe it is an odd jockey booking, and it suggests not today, but he arrives fit and in form, having ran on last time out. So I'm assuming he's here to run his race. So yeah, that was going to be a quick 10-minute video, and we're ticking around to 18 minutes. But in any case, I think that's it. I don't think there's much else I want to say. Maybe some of the other horse race based top 4 qualifiers should go close, and Nahal should do. 7 to 4 looked well, if not the right price, probably short enough, but hopefully he might get the job done. Panida Aurora, I haven't really looked at that. But again, that's one for the top 4 horse race based on the price. So Sawton, so we shall see. And so is the Newberry one. So maybe a couple, 2 or 3 of those 4 are going to bolt up, and I haven't tipped any of them. That would be typical, but at least it would be a positive for the stats and that particular strategy. So yeah, that's that. I will shut up now. Hopefully something of interest there, and best of luck with any bets today, and enjoy your Sunday and the rest of your weekend. This is Josh saying thanks for watching, and bye for now.